Alienware took a completely new direction with their laptops in 2015, with a new thinner and lighter design and powerful 900M series graphics chips. However, many Alienware enthusiasts are upset because of the soldered CPUs and GPUs and the controversy regarding the insufficient 180 watt power supply with the 980M, as well as overheating problems. Let's take a look at the Alienware 15 and see if it's worth it. The base unit that we will be reviewing today sports an i5-4210HQ dual-core processor, a GTX 965M, 8GB of RAM, and a 250GB Samsung 850 EVO custom SSD. I took out the original 1TB 5400 RPM hard drive. It's garbage. Alienware sticks to the same design line. The Alienware 13, 15, and 17 all rely on the same design language. The stability doesn't give too much reason for a complaint either. The lid could be a touch stiffer, but most contenders are considerably more pliable. The base of the unit makes a very rigid impression and also easily defies stronger pressure. Talking about the base unit, the wrist rest is rubber coated to make longer gaming sessions as pleasant as possible. However, not every user will be happy with this decision because a soft touch finish is quite receptive to greasy fingers. I would like to highlight the build quality at this point. Typical for Alienware, the transitions on the surfaces are impeccable. The weight of just below 3 kilograms is also acceptable for a 15-inch device. Some users will turn up their noses at the height. 3.4 centimeters is not extremely high for a gaming laptop, but other manufacturers use slimmer chassis. Next up, let's take a look at the port selection. Beginning on the left-hand side, we have the power cord, Kensington lock port, 2 USB 3.0 ports, a microphone jack, and a headphone jack. On the right-hand side, we find an SD card slot, 2 USB 3.0 ports, and an Ethernet port. Notice there is no optical drive on this device. And finally, on the rear of the device, there's 2 exhausts for the CPU and GPU, graphics amplifier port, mini display port, and an HDMI port. The maintenance options are good, although the opening mechanism proved quite stiff. The user can access all components with the necessary effort. The working memory, hard drives, and wireless module can be accessed directly underneath the maintenance cover. The entire base has to be removed to reach the cooling system, which is 15 screws. That is relatively complicated, but it is explained in an online service manual. The hardware is accessed considerably faster in other gaming laptops. The innards of the 15 seem a bit cramped. At least there are no warranty stickers that ruin upgrading or cleaning intentions. The buyer gets a lot of software. The main attraction is the command center with 4 tabs. As mentioned, Alien Effects takes care of illumination, and energy saving plans are found under Alien Fusion. Then there's Alienware's Tact X, which is responsible for the macro field beside the keyboard. Alien Adrenaline displays the amplifier status. To round things off, a system check tool, Alien Autopsy, and a program for backup and recovery, Alien Respawn, are preloaded. Competition can definitely learn a few things from Alienware's keyboard, starting with the 4-zone illumination and a dedicated macro field. However, the WASD area that is important for gamers has moved extremely far right because a number pad has been omitted. I cannot get completely used to the keyboard's position even after a week, and often put my fingers in the wrong place. A number pad would certainly have fitted considering the empty space on the sides. Not every user will like the layout either. A combined delete/insert key is just as suboptimal as a fused home and print key. The arrow keys are more pleasing. Their decent size make them fairly useful for sports simulations. Overall, Alienware accomplished a good compromise of soft behavior and reliable feedback technically. The relatively quiet typing noise can also compete with the contenders. While adding everything up, the buyer can expect a convincing keyboard that will need quite a bit of getting used to. The touchpad particularly stands out with its high accuracy and pleasantly sleek surface. The fingers hardly glide over other laptop trackpads. The mouse replacement is lowered slightly and features a light that covers the entire area, which automatically turns off after a while. There are no surprising features. Virtually every touchpad supports gesture controls nowadays. 2 fingers not only scroll through documents, etc., but they can also zoom or rotate them. The latter function, however, has to be first enabled in the driver. The bundle is rounded off by 2 fully fledged mouse keys with a mechanical characteristic like a keyboard. Considering that even high-end GPUs like the GeForce GTX 970M find their limits with 3K and 4K resolutions, a full HD screen with 920 by 1080 pixels is still ideal for gamers. The black level is impressive for an IPS product. It ensures a relatively rich reproduction of gloomy movie and gaming scenes. The contrast is particularly compelling. An average of 1100 to 1 leads to a very crisp and differentiated image that displays every kind of media adequately. Our Kalman tests reinforce the good overall impression, no matter whether the grayscale levels or color accuracy result in within the red area. Points are deducted only for the minor blush cast, common laptop phenomenon, and the mediocre illumination. Screen bleeding is seen at the screen's edge on dark backgrounds. The first-rate viewing angles make up for any drawbacks on the screen. Content remains true as long as the user does not look down on the image from the side. Screens based on TN technology have considerably more problems vertically. Finally, let's take a look at the gaming performance, starting with GTA 5. We're at high settings and we get frame rates in the 40s and mid-30s. The dual-core processor doesn't seem to be a bottleneck as it has fairly high clock rates. Next up, we have Crysis 3 running on ultra settings. Frame rates are in the low 30s and high 20s. Seems to be fairly playable. The graphics are really great. Just stunning. It's worth the performance cost to bump it up on ultra. Next up we have Battlefield 4 running on ultra settings, and I'm very happy with the performance as it's in the 50s, drops to the 40s occasionally, and very rarely is in the mid 30s. So overall, I think for a base model, the performance is outstanding as you're able to play the most demanding titles on medium to high settings. Here's a chart on the 965M versus the 960M on high settings. The noise level is the weakness of most gaming laptops. The Alienware 15 also gets quite loud under load. 45 to 49 decibels in 3D Mark 06 is very audible, with an average of 46 decibels. The 15-inch device is even louder than MSI's GS60. The Alienware 15 bottom does get a little warm, but nothing you consider as a threat to your legs. The keyboard and palm rest temperatures remain quite low, with little difference between gaming and idle states. The i5 4210H is a 47-watt TDP part that never really gets close to that, unless heavily overclocked, so no TDP limitations exist really. As we've seen, temperatures are low even under very high load, so no real temperature limitations either. Dell's done a good job with the throttling algorithm too, meaning no throttling at all in this case. Remember that the Alienware 15 is supposed to support an i7 plus GTX 970M combination, which is much hotter. Except from some glitches and clock rate here and there, the clocks of the i5 4210H inside the Alienware 15 are kept at 3.3 to 3.4 GHz, which is very high. With a huge 92 watt-hour battery, the Alienware 15 can hold its breath for quite some time. Idling or doing really low load operations like reading some documents with 40% display brightness will require only 10 to 12 watts, depending whether you turn off Wi-Fi and backlit keyboard, and the Alienware 15 energy supply will linger for around 8 to 9 hours. Running with a balanced power mode, browsing websites with Chrome, running Microsoft Word documents and all, you can squeeze a nice 6 to 7 hours of use, around 14 to 17 watts per hour. The main options that should be considered against the Alienware 15 965M are the GTX 960M equipped laptops, which are very fast and cost less if you find a good deal. You can find those usually for around $900. Let's take a look at some of the names. The Acer VN7 591G Nitro with GTX 960M, 1080p IPS display, and an i7, cheaper and more lightweight. Thermals are not as good, and it has less storage options. The Lenovo Y50 with a 1080p IPS display and a GTX 860M/960M. Keyboard is lower quality in my opinion, thermals are worse, but it's more lightweight, and speakers are probably better. You can also consider GTX 970 options like the Sager P650 SE that can be found for around $1,200 to $1,250 from time to time. The Alienware 15 with the GTX 970M, if a coupon is available, might be a good option too. The Alienware 15 is an excellent machine obviously. Very good thermals with no throttling, very good keyboard, good 1080p IPS screen, slick looks, many features, and very good performance. The 15 basic version, although with an i5-4210H, will be faster than GTX 960M machines by around 20 to 30%. So if you can get one for $1,000 to $1,050, it's a good option. One main problem, as I see it, is the alien looks that might be too embarrassing to walk with in public for some. Another thing to consider before purchasing this machine is the fact that GTX 970 machines can be sometimes bought for $1,200 to $1,250 and will be more cost effective. Then again, a GTX 970 performance is not really essential to have fun in gaming, nor to run all games on very high settings at 1080p. From the other side, the GTX 960M laptops are very powerful too and will cost less, currently around $900. The real problems could be the looks and weight and thickness, but the weight includes a big 92 watt-hour battery that suffices for a long time. A TPM module would be a good thing to add too, and finally, the maintenance could be a problem for some, as it's hard to open the laptop's case completely, and also the CPU and GPU are soldered, preventing future upgrades. That's no different than the Y50 and the Sager laptop. The new amplifier module can be attached to the back of the Alienware 15, which allows you to use an external full-size graphics card with the laptop. Frankly, I think it's far-fetched. The amplifier itself is currently expensive, around $200 to $300, and it doesn't even include a graphics card, which is another $200 to $300 for something fast. And the cable is proprietary. I would consider it if the 15 or 13 could be bought for a lower price, and the price of the graphics amplifier would go down too. So bottom line, for $1,000 to $1,100, this is a very good machine which you'd probably be very satisfied with for gaming. But just for $100 to $200 more, you could get a 970M laptop, which is something to think about. What do you guys think?